everyone, and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday. It is October 14th, 2021, and this is episode 197. My name is Carol. My Ravelry name is Knits and Pearls, and I'm coming to you from the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada. I hope you have all had a good week. Mine has been really good with plenty of time to knit, so I have lots of projects to share with you today, including one very unexpected project. It just snuck up behind me, reached out and grabbed me, and next thing I knew, I was casting it on. So make yourself comfortable, settle in for the next half hour or so, maybe grab yourself something to drink and a project to work on, and let's chat knitting, shall we? So first up, I actually have a finished project. These are a pair of socks that I knit for my husband along with a little help from my daughter. They are just a basic top-down sock with a yarn over short row heel and a rounded toe. They are knit from Peyton's Croy Socks FX in the Cadet Colors colorway. And believe it or not, the heel and the toe are the same colorway. It's just a new version of this Cadet Colors colorway that Peyton's has put out. Very basic 64 stitches on a 2.5 millimeter needle because this yarn is closer to a sport weight than a fingering weight. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about them. Happy to see them done. It's not a pair of socks I had intended to cast on. My daughter was here a few weeks ago for supper and was looking for something to knit on, and so she cast these on and then I carried on. But be good. Cameron will have another pair of socks to see him through the winter, which is good because I noticed the other day when I was washing socks that one of his has a hole in it. So I'm just going to wait for him to notice and decide if he's going to keep wearing them like that or you know, retire them, shall we say. It's not a very big hole at the moment, so we'll see. But he'll have a pair to replace them, whatever he decides to do. So happy to be done with those. I also have another pair of plain stockinette socks that I'm working on. These are knit from Fiber Nymph Dye Works, the Mountain Tweed BFL base, and it is the Purple Finch colorway. This is part of the Backyard Birdwatchers Club that I was a part of earlier this year, and I saved them till now to cast on because I am knitting these as part of the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Nature Make Along, and the theme for this quarter is sky. So I thought birds, purple finches or birds, that's a good tie into the theme. So I have just finished the heel flap and I'm partway through the gusset. So again, top down, 64 stitches. These will be for me, and they are fingering weight, so I'm using 2 millimeter needles on this pair of socks. So it came with this lovely striped yarn, and then you can see that the heel is done in this variegated little mini skein, and I will do the same for the toes. So I really like how these are knitting up. I'm very much enjoying the tweed yarn lately, so yeah, not much more to say about those. Let's see, speaking of tweed, yes, so last week I showed you my progress on the Monterey sweater by Stephanie Talent. Bring that a little bit closer. So it's a lovely cabled pullover, and I've been knitting it from this really pretty green yarn from the Queensland collection Rustic Tweed. It is color 904 Green Donegal. And as I explained last week, I had gotten a few inches past where you join for the sleeves. And when I tried it on, I noticed quite a distinct line on the front where I had stopped knitting. I had worked the back and the front in two separate skeins of yarn, and when I joined them together, I noticed a distinct line where the new skein of yarn was going across the front. And I hadn't noticed it while I was knitting it, but once I put held this up and tried it on, it was quite noticeable to me where those yarns had been joined in. And so I went back to this point, and then I started alternating skeins. Now I can still see, it's right here, even though it's not quite as stark a contrast, I can still notice the difference. And I'm not sure if on the back now, if you can notice where it goes, becomes a little bit darker. I can see it on camera. I'm not sure if you can. And it's interesting, my had my two younger grandkids here on Thursday afternoon. They had an early dismissal, so I picked them up. And I was working on this, and even my granddaughter noticed that one skein was darker than the other. And again, not sure how it's going to there. I think you can see that. So I'm really torn because with every round that I knit on this, I notice the difference. And even though most people probably won't, I do, and I'm the one who has to wear it. I am seriously considering either taking this completely out and casting on again in a different yarn, or taking it all out and starting again with alternating skeins. And I haven't made that decision yet. The decision I have made is to put this away for a while I ponder that decision. Yeah, it's just, I can see it and I can't unsee it. And it's just, yeah, I've lost my enthusiasm for the project because I just am not happy with it. So I have a feeling it's going to end up in the frog pond and then maybe at a later date cast on again. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that that will be its fate. On a more happy note, I've been working away on my veranda shade shawl. This is a terrible printing. I desperately need a few different cartridges of ink for my printer. That gives you an idea of what it looks like. As you may recognize, that is Helen Stewart in the photo. It is her design. It's part of the Shawl Society 5. And I am knitting it from 3 colors of Fiddly Dye Works Merino Sock. So that is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. So my main color, I might as well just bring this up. My main color is Gretchen. My next color is Karis. And then I'm knitting these stripes in Adira. It's actually a 2-color shawl. I've added this 3rd color. And as I've mentioned before, this shawl just reminds me of like a rose-colored terrace, or like the lattice on a patio or a terrace, or a deck, however you want to say it, veranda. Which I'm sure that's what this kind of crosshatch lace is supposed to mimic. I'm sure it was inspired by the lattice, and I just added that deep rosy cranberry color. I just thought it picked up the pinks in this yarn really well and was sort of a nod to the roses that might be growing on such a lattice work, such a trellis. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I have, let's see, 3 more lace sections to do before working this color again for the bottom edge. So I think, let's see if it's easy to tell here. I think I'm about 40 something percent. Yeah, about just over 40% done on it now. It's pretty easy knitting. Don't have to think too much. This lace is very intuitive. Maybe I'll bring this closer so you can just see the really pretty colors in this yarn. I just love it. So yes, that's bringing me quite a bit of pleasure. I'm not sure if I mentioned last week, but I think it was the day after I cast this one on that the newest pattern from the Shawl Society came out. And I have already kind of gone through and chosen some potential yarn for it, but I'm not going to try and rush through this one to get to it. It'll happen when it happens. I often find myself falling behind on the Shawl Society patterns. Sometimes a shawl, especially a 2 or 3 color shawl or 2 or 3 skein shawl, is a lot to knit in just a month, and I often am not able to keep up. That's okay. It's not a race. And speaking of multicolored shawls, I had absolutely no intention of knitting Stephen West's new mystery shawl along called Shawlography. Zero. I've never knit a Stephen West pattern before, had no intentions of knitting this one. But in the week leading up, or week or two, I guess, leading up to the cast on date and the shawls, the Clue 1 release, I saw on a few different podcasts people planning out their color palettes for it. And basically on a whim, Saturday morning, before I headed out of town to go spend a few days where my husband's working, I started going through my stash and picking out 5 colors and purchased the pattern. And when I got up there Saturday afternoon after checking into the hotel and waiting for Cameron to get off work, I cast it on, and I worked on it for most of the next couple of days, and then the day I got home I finished up the last part of Clue 1. So here's a well, first I'll show you my yarns, and then I will let you know to look away while I show it, so that nobody is spoiled that doesn't want to see the shawl. So one thing that I knew before I purchased the pattern was is that you needed one color that was kind of a pop, and then 4 other colors. And then I decided, because I think one reason I've avoided Stephen West's patterns in the past is that he often knits them in very bright, garish colors, and they tend to overshadow the design for me. And when I see other people knit them in more, I guess, traditional color palettes, then I'm struck by how beautiful or ingenious or interesting they are. So I decided I didn't have to go crazy, that I could knit it in something fairly tame and then just let the design shine through. So I started going through my stash, and I came across this fairly new purchase of Midnight Cravings light sock. I had bought these 3 colors together as a set, and this is their label. Midnight Cravings. They're out of Saskatchewan, Canada, and this is the light sock, which is 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. So sidewalk is this plain silvery gray. Then Casual Friday is this darker gray with little flecks of mostly navy, the occasional bit of other colors, but mostly just a navy fleck. And then this navy yarn is called Twilight, and it's a little bit darker. This camera is picking it up, making it a bit brighter than it is, but it's actually quite a dark, subdued navy. So I decided to start with those as neutrals. And very quickly, I decided that I wanted this yarn to be one of the extra, one of the contrasts. This is from Black Cat Custom Yarn, which is a local to me yarn dyer, and this is the Luxury Sock, which is a 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon blend, and this is the Epic Purple colorway. And I thought that these four looked really good together. I liked how that purple just gave it a pop. So then the search was on for the fifth color. And after much trial and error, I settled on this skein. And it is from, see how long I can hold these. It's from Miss Babs. And it's actually a lace weight yarn. It's called Isadora. And the colorway is Abrazo. It was part of, it was a club that was the, let's see, I think it's on here. I can't remember the exact name of the club. It was the winter destination for the Knitting Tour 2014. And it was actually dyed for a shawl designed by Joji Locatelli, which I did cast on and start knitting and then kind of lost interest in. And I thought if I held these two, this two strands double, that it would work. I had a few different blue or turquoise yarns in my stash, and none of them quite worked, but I thought that this one worked really well, especially when it was next to this Casual Friday colorway. It just seemed to be just the right shade of blue. So there are my colorways for the mystery shawl. Now I'll put them down, and here's fair warning to look away or fast forward or something for the next couple of minutes while I show it. I won't really talk about it too specifically. If you want to just close your eyes or something, and I'll let you know when it's safe to look again. So I'm going to put these down and show you my progress. So I have completed the entire Clue one, had 4 different sections to it. Okay, ready? I'm going to show it now. So look away, look away. It is so fun. So you can see I started here, did this section next. This was super fun. And then ended with this really interesting detail. Hopefully that's generic enough not to give too much away. So super, super fun. I am going to take this off screen now, so it's safe to look back again. And I just want to say that, yeah, it's been fun trying out some new stitches and techniques. Also very fun to watch the first Shawlography video that Stephen West put out that walks you through the progression of the shawl, shows you the various stitches, and he has tons of encouragement and really calming way of saying, don't worry about it too much. No one's going to notice if there's a little mistake. And yeah, so I'm so happy that I've cast this on, and I cannot wait until tomorrow when Clue 2 comes out. Because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe with what's left of today after I get this podcast up, I'm going to do my housework. That or get up, do it first thing in the morning so that I can sit guilt-free for the rest of the day tomorrow and work on that. Cameron also found it quite interesting to see the different stages, and he even watched part of the video with me and enjoyed that too. So yeah, it's a great project. I also feel a little bit more free because when my grandson was here on Friday, I asked him if he still wanted me to knit that scarf I talked about last week. He wanted a gray scarf with a logo from this YouTube thing that he watches. And he said no, he didn't. So I did not go, yes, in front of him. But in my mind, that's what I was saying. As much as I would have been happy to knit it for him if it was something he would wear and enjoy, I was not sad that he had changed his mind. So now I feel like I have a little bit more freedom in what I'm working on. I have one acquisition. A few months ago, I had joined the Fiber Knit Dye Works Encore Yarn and Fiber Club, and the premise behind this club was there would be 3 shipments, and it would be 3 skeins of yarn that were sort of final what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think, like components, shipments, final shipment from 3 different yarn clubs that she had done in the past. So I know this one, which I received, is the Just Desserts Club. There's the Happy Hour Club, and I can't remember what the other one is. So it'll be a complete surprise when I get it, unless I remember before that. So yeah, this came yesterday. So again, it took a long time to get to me. So I'm going to assume that most people have received it. Again, if you don't want to be spoiled, look away. I am going to, or maybe fast forward, because I'm going to actually say the colorway name and talk about it a little bit. So fair warning, here I go. So the theme for this Just Desserts Encore is apple turnovers. So it comes with a recipe for apple turnovers, and also this lovely skein of yarn. So you can see in it the colors of like Granny Smith apples and cranberries, and I guess the light brown for the pastry. So yeah, really pretty. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I think it's lovely. And oh my goodness, like, look, again, something that matches my clothing and my background. So it's really pretty and very fall-like, and I would love to cast this on really soon. And I was trying to think of a way that I might incorporate it into the latest quarter of the Nature Mail once my purple finch socks are done. And wasn't really sure how I could connect apple turnovers and sky. But then I remembered that legend has it that Sir Isaac Newton was sitting under an apple tree and discovered the theory of gravity when an apple fell from the sky. And so that might be pushing it, but I might try and do that anyway. Anyway, lovely color, and looking forward to seeing what the next installment of the club brings. So yeah, that's it for acquisitions. Just one acquisition this week. I've been very good. And that brings us to what has been going on around here this week. So last episode I mentioned that Monday was Thanksgiving Day here in Canada. And that means a day off for most people. But unfortunately this year Cameron wasn't one of them. He had to head out of town again to work this week. So because I didn't have any obligations And because I didn't have to rely on one of the kids coming in to look after the outdoor plants like I did during the summer, I decided it was a good time to go and stay with him. And so I did spend a few days there. He had to leave early Saturday morning because he had to open up, but I wasn't able to check into the motel till later, so I waited until after lunch. Had a good drive up. As I was driving up, I realized that even though I have been a passenger along this route many times over the years, I hadn't actually driven it myself since our honeymoon way back in 1984. And I was quite a new driver then. I'd only had my license for a couple of months. And there are some narrow, twisty, turny bits. And we had stopped at the town where Cameron is working now for gas, and then Cameron took over the wheel for the rest of the trip. But I think it was probably at that time we realized that he is a better driver and I'm a better passenger. It's not that I can't drive, and it's not that I don't enjoy driving sometimes, but overall, if I have a choice, I'd rather be a passenger. Besides, then you can knit. Think of all that knitting time that went to waste on the way up and the way down. Anyway, I did have plenty of time to knit to make up for it, though, because he was at work during the day. But we had our evenings together. We went out for dinner a couple of times. And then on Thanksgiving itself, we had leftovers from our dinner the night before. And I went and picked up a salad kit. And we had brought home pumpkin cheesecake from the restaurant to have as our dessert. So we had a nice little Thanksgiving dinner. And then Jessica was hosting our kids, and so we did a little bit of a video call with those, just a short one to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. So all in all, it was a really nice weekend. I had to come back for Wednesday because I had a new crown put in yesterday. Otherwise, I would have stayed up longer. Somehow it seemed a lot harder this time saying goodbye. I sort of thought about coming home to an empty house, and then I knew he would be coming home to an empty hotel room after work, and I think we both really felt it. But he will be home again tomorrow night, and I'm not sure when he's going to have to go back up again. I think with the new employees they have in place, I think things are looking good for now. He might have to go up for a day or two to fill in for his manager, but I think his weeks, the long periods of time of being up there, I hope that they've come to an end. So we shall see. Yeah, so I think that just leaves my something good. So as I mentioned, I had looked after my younger grandkids on Friday, and Jessica had contacted me, I think it was the night before or that morning. She sent me a couple videos and told me that my younger granddaughter was learning to knit, and she was doing very well. Jess had cast on some stitches on these long, thick, well, not too long, but straight wooden needles and nice, thick, colorful yarn, and she was doing really well. So she told me that she was going to send it with her, and maybe we'd want to knit together. So she did knit a couple of rows while she was here, but her attention span didn't last very long. She would do, I think it was about 10 stitches or so. She would do that, and then she'd have enough for a while. So I think she did maybe 2 rows, maybe 3 the whole time she was here. But yeah, just the thought of perhaps having a new knitter in the family is a good one. I hope she does take to it, and I hope it's something that she enjoys for years to come. So we shall see. My older granddaughter has attempted to knit a few times. It's just not her thing. Maybe she'll pick it up again one day too. We'll see. Anyway, I think that is it. So if all goes as planned, I am going to try and record next week on Wednesday instead and try and get back to a Wednesday schedule. So we shall see. So in any case, it'll probably be next week that I see you again. So take care until then. Happy knitting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.